So I kind of just like touched Josh and I was like, Josh, I think my water might have broke. My water just breaks the rest of the way. She wasn't breathing. So she called code blue. Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. So today's video is actually a really exciting video. I've been wanting to do this for the last 4 weeks, but I haven't had the time to do it. So I finally feel like I am able to film it, and I'm super excited for this because I have been wanting to do this not only for myself and for you guys, but for Indy for when she gets older, so that she's able to look back on these videos and see what her birth was like. As you guys can see by the title of this video, we are going to be talking about Indy's birth and just kind of giving you guys the birth story and kind of the background of how I went into labor and my birth experience with her. So I do have 3 older boys. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old boy, and then I have Indy, our first girl. So this was an exciting birth. I was super excited and it was highly anticipated. I was super impatient with her, especially. So with my 3 older boys, I actually had them early. I had Nixon at 34 weeks, and then I had my 2 other boys at 35 weeks. And so when I was pregnant with her, it was kind of expected that she was going to be here at 35 weeks. We all kind of thought that that was going to be the case, just because of my track record. Even my doctor even said, like, the chances of you going early with her are super high. We're going to take the necessary precautions like we did with the other 2, so that we don't have another preterm baby. Sorry, she would not stop squirming around, so I had to feed her. So at 34 weeks, I got the steroid shot for her lungs. I get the steroid shot with all of my kids after having Nixon at 34 weeks. It's just as a precaution. It's so that her lungs will develop, so that if she were to come early, that her lungs would be fine. I got it with Boston and Urban, and they both were able to come home with me at 35 weeks. At 36 weeks, I went to my 36-week appointment on Thursday, and I went in and she decided to check me, and just because I asked because of cramping issues. And so I went in, I had her check me, and I was 1 centimeter dilated and 50% effaced. At 37 weeks, I was trying everything to have this baby. I was walking miles a day. I was squatting. I was bouncing on a ball. I was playing Just Dance. I was doing the you-know-what. Everything, guys. I am not even kidding. The doctor just told me, you can try whatever you want, but if your body's not ready, then it's not going to go to labor, which I completely agree with. So on December 11th, so just 37 plus 6, that was a Wednesday. That morning, I woke up and I was about ready to get in the shower. Josh was about ready to get out of the shower, and so I went to the bathroom just to pee in the morning. And here's a TMI warning. I went to the bathroom and there was my bloody show. Like, I just had blood, and yeah, I bled the rest of the day. It didn't slow down or anything like that, but I knew what it was. And there was nothing else. There was no cramping that morning. There was nothing really changing. I was still having Braxton Hicks, but there was nothing timeable about them. There was nothing different except for that morning. So that afternoon, I decided to go pick up Nixon just to walk to his school. So after I got to his school, from walking from my house to his school, I started having a little bit of cramps, but nothing much. Like, there was nothing and nothing different. After we picked up Nixon, I walked back to we took the long way back home, and then I got home and I just bounced on my ball. I did more squats. We played Just Dance. I bought Just Dance just to go into labor. Like, we haven't played it ever since. So we bought Just Dance. We played that when he got home from school. I literally tried everything. Pineapple, even though I don't really believe in that, I wanted to literally get her out. That night, my mom was home from work, and I asked her if she wanted to go on a walk with me, and she was like, yeah, we could do that. So probably around 9 o'clock, we left for this walk, and it was a 3.5 mile walk. It was a long walk, and every time that there was a curb, I would do curb walking. I was kind of like stretching my pelvis out. I was trying everything at this point, guys. And when at the end of the walk, I was starting to get a little bit more crampy and having a little bit more contractions. But again, they weren't timeable. There was nothing about these contractions that made me feel like, okay, yeah, this is it, you know. So when we got home, I was so frustrated because everything stopped. There was no contractions, there was no cramping, there was no pressure, and I was just like, oh, like I was so frustrated. At 4:20 a.m. on December 12th, after going for that 3-mile walk and everything, I woke up from the biggest cramp. And it was just like a super quick cramp, and then I just felt like kind of wet down there. And so I didn't know if I peed myself from the cramp just because I was sleeping. So I don't know like if it like the cramp made me pee my pants. I have no idea. So I just kind of laid there for a second, but then I decided to stand up, and I stood up and nothing was like trickling or anything that I noticed. So I kind of just like touched Josh, and I was like, Josh, I think my water might have broke, but just, you know, just wait a second and I'm gonna go check. I went into our bathroom and I went to go pee, and I pulled my pants down and my underwear was wet. It's not soaked, but it was definitely not dry. And so I went to the kitchen living room area, and I decided to start bouncing on my ball to see if maybe that would make it, like, see if it is trickling or if it is leaking. And so it was leaking a little bit, but again, I didn't know if I was just like peeing or what that was. After bouncing on the ball for just a little bit, I went over to the other bathroom and just to see if I could try to go pee again, to see if that's what was the issue. As soon as I sat on the toilet to go pee, my water just breaks the rest of the way, and it just went all into the toilet. Like, I am not even kidding you, it was like the movies, just like a massive gush, and yeah, I was freaked out. So I stood up and I went back to our room, and I woke up Josh and I said, Josh, my water just broke all the way. I need you to get up. He just like woke up super frantic. Like, I just think that he was just like not awake, and so he didn't really know what was going on. So he woke up, and I told him just to kind of take his time so I could get like my stuff all ready. So I told him to go take a shower. He got in the shower, and then I just finished packing like all the rest of the stuff that I needed to grab. At this point, the contractions started. So about 4 to 5 minutes after my water fully broke, my contractions were about 2 minutes apart. And by the time that Josh got out of the shower, my back was in so much pain that I couldn't even breathe or talk through them. And I was super nervous because with Urban especially, once my water broke, I had Urban within 30 minutes of my water breaking. So I knew I was gonna go fast. I just didn't know how fast I would go this time. So with this one, my water broke, and I was like, okay, we probably should hurry. Probably shouldn't wait on this because my contractions were about 1 to 2 minutes apart at this point. So Josh got out of the shower. I finished packing. He made his coffee. I went to my mom that we were leaving so she could listen for the boys. And we left about 20 minutes after my water broke, so it was pretty fast. And we got to the hospital about 10 to 15 minutes later. So between 4:45 to 5 o'clock, we got to the hospital. And once I got to the hospital, they hooked me up to all the monitors, got me onto an IV, and they checked me. And when I got to the hospital, I was already at 6 centimeters dilated, and like 80% effaced. So I was going quick, and I wanted the epidural so bad. I did not want to go natural. With Urban, I had the epidural with him, but since I got in a car accident that forced me into labor, my body was in shock because I got T-boned, and my epidural didn't work at all. I felt everything with him, and so I did not want that again. It was so painful with him. I could never do it natural. Props to you for doing it natural if you ever have. That was painful. So when we got to the hospital after being hooked up and them checking me, I just told them I really want the epidural as soon as possible. If I'm 6 centimeters dilated, I do not want to go any farther. I don't want to have her natural. But this hospital, what's really nice about the hospital that I delivered at is that they will give you an epidural at 10 centimeters. So I wasn't worried that I wasn't going to be able to get one. My worry was that I was going to go too fast to be able to get it, like she'd be crowning. And so I was like, I need this epidural. So they told me that before I could have the epidural, I had to have a whole bag of fluids. So they hooked up the bag of fluids, and they ended up having to put a bag hugger is what they called it. It was like a little bag thing that they put over the IV water, like IV bag of water. And they pumped it up, and it squeezed the bag of water to go faster. So it made it go faster. and so I could get my bag of fluid quicker. So once I got all of that fluid in me, I was able to have the epidural. I wanted my sister in the room with me with this baby, but she was there and she was helping me through each contraction and was rubbing my back because I was still having back labor. And what they told me is that the reason I was having back labor is because she was sunny side up. She was facing up. And that was the same with Urban. He was born sunny side up with his face first. And so I knew that that's kind of what was going on with her, that she was sunny side up. But my sister was helping me, you know, coaching me through my breathing and was rubbing my back and was helping me through each contraction. They hadn't checked me again. They told me that they weren't going to check me until after until I was like actually ready to push. And so I don't know how far along I was at this point, but around 8 to 8:30 he came in and gave my epidural. It was a good epidural. Like the anesthesiologist was really good at what he was doing. But the only thing is that I felt everything on my left side. For some reason, the epidural was only working on my right side. And so I could feel each contraction in my back. So I had the little box to give me more epidural, but it wasn't helping my left side. And so they came in after they gave me the epidural, and I was trying to have them flip me over so I can, like, the gravity could pull it to my left side. And it helped a little bit. They just had me lay on my left side with a peanut ball just to kind of get things moving. So after that, they came in around 9:20 to 9:30 and checked me because I could feel the pressure. I was like, there's pressure. I'm ready to push. I can feel it. And so they came in and she checked me and I was 10 centimeters dilated and ready to push. So they got my legs up. I started pushing probably around 9:25, 9:30. And within 4 contractions, I ended up having her. So it was a super quick with pushing, super quick labor. After she was born, they just placed her on my stomach. Her cord was extremely short, so they couldn't bring her up to my chest. It was like kind of just like down on my stomach that they were able to bring her like only that far up. And Josh never cuts the cord, so I asked my sister if she wanted to do it, and she said yes. So she ended up cutting Indy's cord, which was super special. And then after they cut the cord, they just put her on my chest, and I was able to do the golden hour, so just like 1 hour of them letting her just lay on me without them doing any weight checks or anything like that. After she came out, the student midwife was waiting for my placenta to deliver, but for some reason it wouldn't deliver. It was just stuck, and she was like waiting. She was like kneading on my stomach. So she actually ended up having to reach her whole hand. I'm not even kidding you guys. When I asked my sister, because she was watching, when I asked my sister how far she had to go up, she like literally had to put her whole arm up there because the placenta would not let go. It was just like attached. And what they said was the reason why it wasn't coming is because it was actually attached to my cervix. And so they said that they don't know why they couldn't see that on ultrasound. They said that it's probably the reason on why I was bleeding for like 2 full days after my TMI bloody show. They weighed her and she was 7 pounds, 9 ounces, and 20 3/4 inches long. The only thing that I would say about my whole experience that was kind of bad was after she was born, she swallowed a lot of amniotic fluid. She was choking and throwing up a lot. She was trying to get it out of her lungs. So the nurse came in that night to do vitals, and as she was holding her, Indy started choking, and the nurse was patting on her back, and then Indy turned bright blue, and she wasn't breathing. So she called code blue, and they took her to the NICU, and we're just trying to figure out what was going on. And they sucked her out to see if maybe that was what was causing it, and it was. And so they brought her back into me that next morning, but that was really scary seeing her like turn completely different colors. But other than that, she was extremely healthy. This is her right here. Say hi. Say hi. Yeah. You're the sweetest thing. Yeah. She has been such a good baby. We are so blessed with her, and it was definitely worth the wait. Anyway, guys, we hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay notified when we post another video. Anyway, guys, we will see you in the next one. Bye, guys. Wherever you're going,
I'm going to. I'll follow you through the black and